Hello guys, welcome back to TechDose, and in this video we will see the perfect subarray sum which is from Google Kickstart round C and question number 3. So let us now look at the problem statement. The problem here says that we are given an array and we are required to find the number of subarrays with sum as perfect square. So let us assume that we are having an array having 4 elements. Then what will be the count of the number of subarrays with sum which will be equals to a perfect square? So in this case, we are having elements 3, 4, 5, 4, and the number of subarrays which will sum up to perfect square is equals to 5. So these are the following subarrays. So the first subarray is 3, 4, 5, 4. That is this entire array itself. So this is a subarray which will be having sum equals to 16, which is a perfect square. Therefore, it will be included in our count. Now the next subarray is this one element which is 4. Because the sum is equals to 4, which is a perfect square. So this will also be counted. The next subarray is 4, 5, this one. This sum is equals to 9, which is a perfect square. So this will also be counted. Similarly, this 5, 4 will be counted and this 4 will also be counted. Therefore, the total number of subarrays with sum as perfect square is equals to 5 in this case. Now, one thing to note is that I have taken this example having all the positive numbers, but the numbers can be negative as well. So I hope you got the problem statement now. We need to see some observations in order to solve this problem. So the first observation is that if sum of any subarray is 0, then it is a perfect square. So let us assume this example having 5 elements. In this case, you can see that the encircled subarray sum will be equals to 0. So this sum is equals to 0 indicates that this will be a perfect square. Because in the question it mentions that the perfect square will start from 0 and it will always be a positive number. So the condition is like this: if your sub-array sum is equals to some number x square, then for all x greater than equals to 0, this sub-array sum will be considered as a perfect square. So in this case 0 is also considered because x is greater than equals to 0. Negative numbers for x are not taken. Okay. So in this case, since sum is 0, you can say that if you pick x is equals to 0, then x square will be equals to 0, which is equals to your subarray sum. Therefore, this can also be considered as a subarray for your perfect subarray count. Therefore, this will be included. I hope you understood this. Let us now look at the next observation. The next point is that if prefix sum at some index I minus j square, where j is another integer, has already occurred as the prefix sum, then that subarray is a perfect square. So let us assume that our ith index is pointing to this point, that is this value 3, and this is the prefix sum. Prefix sum is that we have calculated the cumulative sum moving from left to right. So we are at this index which is pointing to 3. Now the sum value at this point is equals to 16. So if we pick some value j, let us say j is equals to 2, then j square value will be equals to 4. So if we subtract this prefix sum at I with j square, that is if we subtract 4 from 16, then it will be equals to 12. So from this given point I, if we move to the left hand side, then is there any 12 which had already occurred as the prefix sum? So you can see that yes, 12 has already occurred as a prefix sum at this point. So this indicates that the subarray sum in between will always be a perfect square. So in this case, you can see that 16 minus 2 square is equals to 12, where I had picked j is equals to 2, and 16 was nothing but prefix sum at index I. So this is the index which I had picked, and now when you subtract it, 12 is coming, and 12 has already occurred as a prefix sum on the left hand side. So this indicates that the subarray sum in between will be a perfect square. So this is just simple mathematics. If you think about it, the prefix sum till this point was 12 and till this point was 16. So in between it will be equals to 4. So what we are doing is we are just subtracting with j square and we are getting 12. So the sum in between must be equals to this j square. And since this j square is already a perfect square, therefore the sum in between, that is the subarray sum in between, will be equals to j square, which is also a perfect square. So in this case as well, we will include it in our perfect subarray count. Okay. So I hope you understood this point as well. Let us now move on to the next point. The next point says that increment the count by number of times the prefix sum at I minus j square occurs in the prefix sum. So let us assume that our I points to this point. We have taken this index. Okay. Now the prefix sum is equals to 7 here, and let us assume that we take j is equals to 0. Then j square will also be equals to 0. So if we subtract this 0 from 7, then it will be equals to 7. So we will find if 7 has already occurred as a prefix sum on the left hand side. So you can see that 7 has already occurred. So this indicates that the sum in between will be equals to j square. Okay, so since j is equals to 0, so this sum will also be equals to 0. It could have been anything. Okay, so since j square is already a perfect square, so this subarray sum will also be a perfect square. Therefore, this will also be counted. Now, you can see that there is another 7 as well. So, if this is also 7, then the subarray sum, this one, will also be equals to j square. So, this will also be equals to 0. If you add them, it will also be equals to 0. Therefore, this count should also be included in our perfect subarray count. Therefore, this point is saying that we should increment the perfect subarray count by the number of times the prefix sum at I minus j square occurs in the prefix sum if we are at index I moving to the left hand side. If prefix sum at I minus j square has occurred a given number of times, then we will have to increment the count by that many number of times. So in this case, you can see that there are two perfect subarrays. Okay, so our perfect subarray count will be incremented by 2. Now let us look at the second example. Let us say we pick the I point as this one. Okay, and now the prefix sum is equals to 16. So let us assume that we take j equals to 3. So j square will be equals to 9. Now 16 minus 9 will be equals to 7. Okay. Now we will move from this point to the left hand side and see if 7 has already occurred as a prefix sum. So you can see that 7 has occurred at 2 points. Therefore, this indicates that the sum in between will be equals to j square. So 5 plus 4 is 9, which is equals to j square. And if you pick this one as well, it will also come as equals to j square, which is 9. Therefore, these two counts must be included in our perfect subarray count. Okay, so I hope you understood the third point as well. Now one thing which you must have noticed is if we are at a given point I and we have taken an arbitrary j value and we are finding prefix sum at I minus j square, then we want to find if prefix sum at I minus j square has already occurred among the prefix sum. So how do we optimize this search? How do we store this prefix sum so that we can search for already occurred prefix sum in minimum possible time? So one such data structure to store the prefix sum will be map, because we can access the previous prefix sum in optimal time, that is O1 time, and it can take a maximum of order of log n time. Okay. Now in this map, I will keep the key as the prefix sum and the value as the frequency of the prefix sum. That means the number of times that prefix sum has occurred. So in this case, if our I value was this last index, then the frequency for this 7 would have been 2, because this has already occurred 2 times. So this is of importance. Frequency is also of importance as well as the sum. So the first thing is we will search by key, that is we will search by prefix sum, whether that sum has already occurred to the left hand side. And if that sum has already occurred, then the second thing which we want to find is we want to know the frequency of that prefix sum, because we will add our count with the frequency value. Okay, so as I already explained you, here frequency of 7 was 2, therefore we incremented our perfect subarray count by value 2. So I hope you understood why we are using key as prefix sum and value as frequency. Now there is one exceptional condition as well. Before even starting our parsing, we will initialize the map at 0 equals to 1 frequency, because let us say you are having an array 1, 2, 6. Now if you consider this entire array, then the sum will be equals to 9. And if you pick j value is equals to 3, then j square will be equals to 9. And if you subtract this prefix sum, 9 minus 9 will be equals to 0. So according to our method, we will be searching for this 0 moving to the left hand side in this prefix sum array, but then this 0 will never be found. But this does not mean that this sum 9 is not a perfect square. So whenever your prefix sum minus j square comes out to be 0, this indicates that this sum is actually equals to j square. And since j square is a perfect square, therefore this sum will also be a perfect square. So in order to take care of this condition only, we will insert map at 0 equals to 1. So I hope you got this point as well. Now I will solve this problem in two parts. First case will contain only the positive numbers and second case will contain both positive and negative numbers. So this will make explanation much easier. So let us assume that we are taking this case 1 where all the numbers will be positive. So we want to find the perfect subarray count. It will initially be equals to 0. Now our sum will also be equals to 0. This is nothing but total sum at a given index I. And we will also be keeping track of the prefix sum. Now you must have already seen value j. So I will process this entire array and you will understand what is the significance of this j. So let us assume that we start from this first point. So as soon as we hit this first point, then we will increment the sum value and this will become 3. Now we will also update the prefix sum. This will be 3. Now we need to increment the j value starting from 0 and check if it has already occurred in our map. And by the way, our map will be initially initialized with the value sum equals to 0 having frequency 1, as I had already explained you. Now our value is 3. Okay, so 3 minus j will always start from 0. So j will be greater than equals to 0. Now j will be starting with 0. So 0 square is 0. So is 3 present in our map? So 3 is not present in our map. So we will increment the value of j. Now j will be equals to 1. 1 square is 1. Is 2 present in our map? 2 is also not present. We will increment the value of j. It will be equals to 2 now. 2 square is 4. It is equals to minus 1. So this is actually going out of bounds. So we will stop there. Now how do we define what is the bound? Actually, we want to find whether the sum is a perfect square or not. So if the sum is a perfect square, then root under sum is, let's say, equals to j. Then j multiplied with j will be equals to this value sum. Therefore, if sum minus j into j is greater than equals to 0, I will keep proceeding towards the sum value, because this indicates that j square has not reached the value sum yet. But if this entire thing goes negative, this indicates that j square has exceeded the sum value. And then when you have already exceeded the sum value, then you can only move forward and you will never come back to this sum. Okay, so we will have to stop here. I think this is pretty logical and you will be able to understand it. Now you can see that after processing this first element, our count did not increase. Now we will move on to the next point. So before moving on to the next point, we will have to insert this prefix sum in our map, because we want to keep track of all the previous prefix sums. So this 3 will be having frequency 1, saying that we have just encountered a prefix sum having value 3 only once. Okay. And now since we have moved to the next element, our prefix sum will get updated to 4 plus 3 equals to 7. And now our sum value will also be updated to 7. Okay. Now let us process with our j value starting from 0. So now sum is equals to 7. J will be 0 initially. So j square is 0. Now this will be equals to 7. 7 is not present in map. So we will start with 1 square. So this is 6. 6 is also not present in map. 7 minus 2 square will be 4, which will be equals to 3. So 3 is already present in map. Therefore, we will have to increment this count. And why are we doing this? Because this 3 is already occurring in the map as a prefix sum. So you can see that this 3 is already occurring here as a prefix sum. Okay. Now this indicates that if you consider all the elements to the right hand side of this prefix sum, then that will sum up to this j square. So to the right of this 3, there is only one element, which is this 4. So if you consider this element, then this will be equals to j square. So since j square is already a perfect square, therefore this subarray sum will also be a perfect square. So we are incrementing the count of perfect subarray. Now the next element will be 3 square, which will be 9. So this is equals to minus 2, going out of bounds. therefore we will not process further. Now this element is also processed, therefore we will add this 7 in our map. So this will also have a frequency 1. Now we will move on to the next element, it is 5. Now our prefix sum value will be equals to 7 plus 5, which will be 12, and this sum value will also be updated to 12. Okay, and now we will again do the processing. So now we will start from 0 square, this will be 12. 12 is not present in map, we will increment j value to 1, 1 square is 1, 11 is not present in map. Now we will take the next value of j, which will be equals to 4, so this is 8, 8 is also not present. We will take the next value 9, which will be equals to 3. So 3 is present. This indicates that if you take all the elements to the right hand side of this prefix sum 3 and add them up, then we are at this index which is pointing to 5. If you add these two values, then this will be equals to j square, which is equals to 9. So since j square is already a perfect square, therefore this subarray sum will also be a perfect square. Hence we will include it in our perfect subarray count. Therefore we will increment it with this frequency value, it will be equals to 2. Okay, now we will again take the next value, which is 16, it will come out to be minus 4, out of bounds, so we will not process it further. Now before moving on to the next point, we will include this point in our map. So 12 has occurred for the first time. Now we are moving to this 4. Now since we are moving to 4, prefix sum will be 16 and this sum will also be incremented to 16. Now we will do the processing, starting j equals to value 0. So 0 square is 0, 16 is not present in map. So 16 minus 1 square 15 is also not present. 16 minus 2 square 4, which will be equals to 12. 12 is present. Therefore its frequency will be included in our count. This will be equals to 3. Now again 16 minus 3 square 9, which will be 7. 7 is also present. Therefore its frequency also gets included, this becomes 4. Now 16 minus 4 square, which is 16, is equals to 0. 0 is already present. Therefore we will again increment the count, this will be equals to 5. Now 16 minus 6 square is 36, which will be negative value. Therefore this is going out of bounds and we will stop here. Now all the elements have been processed and whatever the count value is, it will be the count of the number of perfect subarrays present in this array. Okay, so I hope you got the positive case. Now let us look at case 2, where the elements can be positive as well as negative. So in order to solve this by case 2, we just need to consider one extra thing, which is min sum. So in the previous case, since all the elements were positive, therefore the minimum possible sum value can be equals to 0, and this will only be possible if all the values are 0. And in this case, the minimum possible sum value can be less than 0 because the elements can be negative as well. Therefore here we need to maintain what is the minimum sum we have seen till now. Okay, and then we will take this as our bound and we will use the same formula with this bound. Okay, so this is the only change and everything else is the same. So let us now process it quickly. So we will initially insert sum value 0 with frequency 1, as I have already explained you. Now we will take the prefix sum, this is prefix sum, and we will start processing from the first value. So this first value is minus 5, so the prefix sum value will be minus 5. Sum will be updated to minus 5 and min sum will be taking the value of minimum of its current value, comma, this sum value. So the sum value is lower than the min sum value, so min sum will be updated to minus 5. Okay, now since we have updated all the sum values, so let us now process this value. So this will be sum value minus 5 and we will subtract it with j square. So j can be greater than equals to 0, this was already mentioned in the question. Now we start with value 0. So 0, this will be equals to minus 5. So this is greater than equals to min sum, this is true. But this value minus 5 is not present in our map. So we will do the next processing, we will take 1 square, this is minus 6. Now minus 6 is actually getting out of bounds because min sum is minus 5. So minus 6 is actually lower than min sum. So we will stop here and we have done this processing. So after processing this, we will insert this minus 5 in our map and then we will keep its frequency as 1, saying that we have seen this sum minus 5 only once. Now we move on to the next element. Okay, so the next element is -1. Now we update our prefix sum. This will be equals to -6. We update our sum. This will be -6. Now min sum is actually greater than sum, so this will also be updated to -6. So all these values are updated. Now we will do the processing. So we will start j equals to 0. So this will be -6, j equals to 0, j square will be 0. This is -6. -6 is not present in the map. Now we will take next value of j, which will be 1. So this is 1 square. This will be equals to -7. So you can see that we are actually getting out of bounds. So we will have to stop here. Therefore, we will push this value in the map. So -6 will be included with frequency 1. And now we will move on to the next element, which is equals to 1. So when we are at this one, then we will have to add one value. It will be equals to -5. So our sum will be updated to -5. Now -5 is actually greater than this -6. So min sum will not be updated. Okay. Now we will do the same processing again, starting with j equals to 0. So our prefix sum is -5, 0. This will be equals to -5. Now -5 is already present in the map. Okay. So this indicates that if you move to the right hand side and include all the elements, this one, -1 and 1, then the sum value will be equals to j square value. So j square is 0, therefore this sum value will be 0. And j square is a perfect square, therefore this subarray sum will also be a perfect square. Therefore we will have to increment the count value by 1. Why by 1? Because the frequency of -5 is 1. Therefore we are incrementing it by 1. Now we will do the next processing, taking j equals to 1. So this will be equals to -6. Now -6 has already occurred. So we will take its frequency, add it to our count. This will be equals to 2. Move to the next value, which is equals to 2. This will be 4. Now this is equals to -9. So min sum was -6. So this is getting out of bounds. So we will not process it further. Now this is already processed. So we will have to push this -5 in our map. So you can see that -5 was already present. So we will just have to increment its frequency to 2, saying that this -5 prefix sum has already been seen 2 times. Now we will move on to the next element, which is equals to this 9. Now we will add 9 to this -5. This will be equals to 4. Now our sum value will be updated to value 4. Now min sum is less than sum, so it will not be updated. Okay. Now we will do the same processing again. So we will start with this value 4 and j equals to 0. So this will be equals to 4. 4 is not present in our map. We will take the next value. It will be 1. Now 3 is also not present in the map. Take the next value, which is equals to 2 square 4. So this will be 0. So 0 is present in our map. So its frequency 1 will be added. It will be 3. Now move to the next value. We will take 3, which will be equals to 9. Now 4 minus 9 is -5. So -5 is already present 2 times. So you will have to increment the count by 2 times. It will be 5. Now move ahead. We will take 4 square 16. So this will be equals to -12. This is getting out of bounds. Bound was -6. Therefore we will stop here. So we will push this element 4 into our map with frequency 1, and we have now processed all the elements. So whatever is the count value after processing all the elements, this will be the count of the perfect subarrays inside this array. Okay. So I hope you understood how do we calculate the number of perfect subarrays in a array. Now what will be the time complexity for this problem? Well, the time complexity will be order of n multiplied by root under maximum prefix sum value. So n, because we are traversing all the array elements at least once, and we are actually taking a loop for j will be greater than equals to 0, and we will run it till j multiplied by j, and this sum minus j multiplied by j should be less than equals to min sum value. So this is nothing but we are moving till the maximum prefix sum. So this you will understand from the code. Okay, so let us now look at the code. In this code you can see that this t is nothing but number of test cases. So this while loop is for running each and every test case. This n will take the number of inputs, that is the number of array elements. This a is our array and this is our map, which is named as m. Now m at 0 will be initialized equals to 1 because we have already told you that whenever the sum is equals to 0, then your frequency will be equals to 1. This is one exceptional case. Now we will have to take minimum sum. Actually here LL means long integer, but then this will also work with integer, so you will not face any problem because the range of element was -100 to 100 and there can be a maximum of 10 to the power 5 elements. So even if you add all the elements, then it can get to 2 into 100 into 10 to the power 5. Okay, so this will be the maximum value. It can be contained in an integer, so it can be done with integer as well, but I just took it for safety. Now I have also taken this sum, and this answer is nothing but our count value. Now this is our for loop for iterating for each and every element of the array. Now I will insert an element in our array. I will update our sum value as I already told you. I will also update the min sum, taking the minimum of min sum comma sum, and after updating all these values we will process the current element. So how do we process it? We will start with j equals to 0 to sum minus j square should be greater than equals to min sum. Okay, and for each and every element index we will actually be processing using the j value. So this is our actual condition which I have already explained you, and this m dot count is actually checking if this current key sum minus j square, this is a key, so this sum value is present in our map or not. So if this key is already present in our map, then it will return a value 1 saying that this key sum minus j square is present. So if this key is present, then we will increment our answer, that is our count, with the frequency of how many times this sum minus j square has already occurred in our map. Now after incrementing all these things, the final step is to include that current prefix sum in our map before moving on to the next index for processing it. So this I have already explained you. And after processing all the elements, we will simply print the answer. And after printing the answer, we will move on to the next case. So this is the entire algorithm, and this will take order of n multiplied by maximum prefix sum. So I hope you were able to understand this prefix subarray sum. This is a very important problem, and a very similar problem is the contiguous array, which I have already explained you. I will put a link for that problem as well in the description below, so do check it out. I hope you enjoyed the problem. If you have any other approach or solution in different languages, then please post below so that everyone can take benefit from it. Like and share our video and subscribe to our channel in order to watch more of this programming videos. See you in our next video. Thank you.